Hi, my name is Tristan Hansen. I'm the creative prop master here at the Fifth Avenue Theater, and I'm here to talk about our sand experiments for our upcoming production of Secondhand Lions. We've actually been working on our sand now for a couple of months and figuring out the best way to achieve realistic onstage sand crushing and all of that kind of stuff. So we've done everything from testing out real sand to testing out silicone sand and cork and all kinds of stuff, and I think we've come to a good spot. It's been a lot of fun putting it all together, and but it's been a challenge too, because there's all kinds of things that it needs to do and not do at the same time. So that's the trick of sort of figuring everything out. All right, so we have here a model piece that our assistant designer put together for us that represents sort of what the overall look of the sand castle is. This is a sand box, and this is all carved out of foam, this structure, and we are mimicking this structure in full size to have these blocks that are attached and come apart. This was one of our answers to how do we build a sandcastle every night and knock down a sandcastle every night. So we'll have some key places where we can knock it off, and that's our destruction of the sandcastle. We took cues from this, it being made out of foam, as being the answer to the next step, and maybe the actual full-size one needs to be built out of foam and built out of carvable blocks, and that's what we ended up doing with the final piece. So from our model, we go to this piece, which is made out of silicone sand. It's a lighter sand, and when it gets wet, it's nice and light. It's very small particulate. But this was going to be a challenge overall to build the whole piece out of because of the mass. This is very heavy. I would say this probably weighs close to 7 or 8 pounds. Which would make the full-size version that we just saw unbelievably heavy. And we need to be lightweight and be able to push around easily. Even wet, the amount of sand that would have had to go into the structure would have weighed down the entire piece. So there are some physical impossibilities that we have to face. With the amount of time that we have to do it, resetting the show every night, and the duration of time that this would last if it were still wet and able to be molded and sculpted. But this shows how Elmer's glue and sand weren't a good option because of how solid it is, and we would never be able to break this again except with a chisel and hammer. So this is our cork option. This is a very nice and fine ground up cork. It doesn't make any grindy noises or won't ruin anything or anybody if it gets on costumes or on the stage. At first we tried a version of casting the material in a mold with glue, and because it's a plastic mold and there's no real air circulation, it sort of just, this is the part that dried on the inside. The rest of it just kind of stuck inside. So this ended up not being a good option because of dry time and being able to demold it successfully and have a full shape that existed. And this is a piece that they still wanted to be crushable. And because this particular glue binds so well, as you see, it's like a piece of leather, and that's not as easy to crush and pull apart for the actor as other options. So this also was not a successful experiment. What can we do to make it look like a building? And we'll be doing something sort of like this for the real building, piecing it together with cork sheets and making doorways and stuff like that. And on stage, the Sultan's going to want to crush all of the sand, and so he'll do that by just ripping it apart, and all of the sand will fall out in a very dramatic, explosive sort of way. So that's where we're at right now. You'll have to come and see the show to see the final look of everything. This is just one aspect of the sandcastle. The sandcastle is quite a tricksy little prop.